Welcome to another episode of For You to Survive. Today we're going to see how to make a Fatwood Ferro-rod Firestarter so you can make a fire on a cold day and warm up, dry up, and survive. It's wet, it's windy, and kind of cold from hiking over 6 miles, so I need a fire pretty bad to warm up. Nice, we're off. It's time to light a twig bundle. Let's go for a walk down the trail. Oh, look at this. This looks like an old pine stump. I'm gonna have to check it out. Before I do any cutting, I gotta check to see if this is worthwhile. Yeah, it smells like Fatwood. Yeah, I did a little cut, and that's some very nice looking Fatwood there. I think I'm gonna use this. All right, today's a damp day. I'm out in the woods. I'm just having some fun. I'm preparing for the future, so I'm not in a survival situation, but I'm gonna prepare myself for one. I'm gonna use a saw, cut this pine. Well, that's the easy way. Right now, to harvest this piece of Fatwood, I got two choices. I could take my knife and baton it with a real baton, not a hatchet handle, and I can get this out, but since I have my hatchet, I'm going to use it. There it is. It's a nice piece of Fatwood. Here's the easy way. I got this piece, I just kind of kicked it out. So I didn't really need a tool, so except a boot. So that's actually a nice thing too. I'll go work on some blanks and get back to you. All right, so I want to thin this piece out some. It has like a natural crack in it, so I want to be very careful on how I cut this, so I'm actually going to use a baton and my hatchet. That was a good cut there. Now I have the makings of a handle for my ferro rod. There's that beautiful red orangish Fatwood right there, so that's what I want. So this is going to be my handle. I got plenty of material there, less here, so my handle is probably going to be more on this side. So I'm going to carve around it and thin it down. I can save the Fatwood shavings for fire starting because today's a damp day, so that's actually perfect for it. But I'm going to clean it up. Okay, I carved this down so it's going to fit in my hand. I'm going to make it so it'll fit in my hand right about here. So that's going to be a mark. That's what I'm going to saw because I want this to fit my hand nicely. Now it's time to saw a little bit more. Where's my mark? There's my mark. nice clean cut, so I'm gonna finish off with my knife. There it is. Kind of chamfer it off a little bit. Make sure there's no sharp edges for me. All right. I have some shavings here. I have some sawdust, and that can be used for starting a fire. So I'm glad I saved that. Here's the end. Chamfered it off to make it nice and comfortable for the hand. I'll do the same here. Just a little bit. I still like all this nice fatwood that's on there. And here's the thing. You're going to shave off fatwood, so it's okay to have it a little bit a weird shape. Plus it's going to fit your hand nicely. So that fits my hand, and what I got to do is get a hole in here so I can insert a ferro rod. So there's a lot of good fatwood, orange stuff that I can scrape. Okay, so here's my handle. What I got to do next is drill a little hole so my ferro rod will go in there. So I'm going to take the knife and go slow. Don't really like my hand in the way there. So I'll go slow. There's no hurry on this. Speed will hurt you. And basically you have to make this big enough for the ferro rod to slip in there. And you're also going to glue it. So this is the start. That's the start of the hole. I've used a Mora knife. But I found it possible to use the small blade on the Swiss Army knife, and I can also drill out a hole. Okay, so I went in deep enough. I'm almost a full length of the blade, so that's a pretty good amount of drilling that I did, because I want the ferro rod to be able to stay in the handle once I glue it. So you take it out, you get plenty of sawdust, which is definitely flammable and useful for starting the fire. So that's what I have there. I'm going to keep that. Clean it up a little bit. And that should fit a ferro rod. And next part is going to be to put the ferro rod and glue it in. I got my hole started for the ferro rod to go in, but I decided that I want to have a hole for a lanyard to carry the ferro rod. This side's really nice with fatwood, orange wood, and so is this part. So I'm going to drill my hole through the side. I'm going to take my awl and make a smaller hole. The awl will do a really good job. Pretty quick too. I'm probably going to have to go through one side, then finish on the other side. Oh wow. Actually got through pretty nicely. All right. That didn't take long. Before I started with the awl, I took my Mora and just kind of drilled 2 holes where I know where I want them to connect. I didn't really go that deep, so I could line up things nicely. And the awl really went through in real time really nicely. I got a good clean hole to work with. Some cordage will go through there. I should show you what it looks like. Just want to clean it up just a little bit so you can see. And use the little blade again just to finish up. Just a small amount of tidying up. Here's a look at the fatwood handle. You can see how It all goes through. It all comes out the other side. And there it is. That's going to be our lanyard. And I can carve this down to make it look neater. Here's the hole that I started for the ferro rod to go into, and we'll glue that in. I got my emergency ferro rod in a plastic bag to keep it dry so moisture doesn't corrode it and ruin it. I'll take my Mora with a 90-degree spine. So this is damp today. I'm going to light these Fatwood shavings. Let's see how it goes. All right, very good. That's the beginning. I'll keep adding more. And there we go. We have some fire on a rainy day. Conditions are damp, not ideal, but in practically no time, or actually it did take some time, but I was efficient with gathering my resources. I didn't waste these shavings of Fatwood, so that made it easy for me, so it didn't feel like there was any time. I was already carving anyway, so that is excellent. Feels good. I can feel the heat. Oh yeah, that's some successful Fatwood lighting. Alright, so I got my handle, then I'm going to put the ferro rod in, but something interesting happened to me. I had my ferro rod and it actually came out of the little handle here, so that's great. I can commence to the next part of gluing the handle in. Now if I made the hole too deep by accident, I could put some sawdust in here, and that can help fill in the gap a little bit and fill in the edges. So I'm on my way. Here's the beginning of the ferro rod. We're gonna fill in the gap with some glue, and probably gonna throw this old piece away that failed. It's time to put it all together now. I have my ferro rod that broke. The handle came off. I got the handle with the lanyard, and I got my hole inside the Fatwood, but it's a little bit too big. I'm going to take some of this sawdust, put it inside. I'm adding sawdust to make up the extra room. Put that in there, and I can fill inside around it too. Alright, now it's time to glue it. Now it's time to take my glue, which this time will be JB Weld, the 6-minute setup time one. So I'll get into that. I'll goop some of it on there. I need just enough to fill it up. I don't need to go crazy. This is good stuff. I haven't been let down by it, so equal amounts. And then we mix it up. I have this piece of birch bark, which is functioning as a nice surface to work on. Here's a stick here, so mix them up. Mix it up until they combine nicely, kind of forming a gray color. A different color than what we started with. There we go. Now it's time to fill it in. Sometimes I like to get a big goopy part on the ferro rod and let that go in. There we go. Then I kind of fill in the rest. Try to be as neat and as clean as you can. Fill in the gaps here. A little bit of a space there, so I'll fill that in, kind of work it around. right. Now I'm at the point where I got to hold this for 6 minutes. Got to let it cure. This is my chance to make any adjustments whatsoever. Typically I like to make it so it can stand up on its own if I set it down, which is not a good idea, but I like it to set up. I'm going to do this with hand pressure, but you could use a clamp and hold it in there if you wanted, but we're going to pretend like we don't have one. We're out in the wild, so I'm going to let this go for 6 minutes. So it takes 6 minutes for this to set up and 4 to 6 hours for it to cure. That's what it says. Set time 6 minutes, cure time 4 hours, and the cure color is a dark gray. And we want this to be as straight up and down as we can. We want the ferro rod to be straight. We don't want it to be angled left or right. So I bought some replacement ferro rods, and this one is 3/8 inch diameter and it's 4 inches long. And this is larger than the one I just put in the Fatwood Ferro-rod. I used the string from the ferro rod that came with it, but also you can use elastic. So this is a nice feature to know that it's going to go around your knife and it's going to stay where you need it to stay. So that's really, really nice. And when you need it, you got it. This is the legume knife, and LT Wright makes it, so it's a real nice knife. I've made a lot of fireboards, spindles, that sort of thing with it. It comes sharp and it feels good. I like this knife, and it's a real strong full tang knife. One thing we can do with this is get it on our wrist so we won't lose it accidentally, but also if the lanyard's in the way, we kind of move it out of the way, but we can also scrape the fat wood so we can use it for fire starting. That's a real nice feature because the ferro rod becomes a handle, so just kind of hold it there and scrape away. So I have to give my ferro rod a chance to set up and get really, really strong and dependable. So I don't want to mess with it now because it has to really cure and harden. So you can see the difference there. This one's thicker, this one's thinner. This is the one we made today, and they both fit the hand nicely, and that's a nice feature. Here's the side-by-side comparison. Here's a bonus for all you bow drill lovers. You can take this fat wood and you can make a divot in here and make this into a socket, so you have an extra way of starting a fire with a Fatwood Ferro-rod Firestarter. Granted, in an emergency, you're going straight for a ferro rod and cotton ball and Vaseline, or some other method, a lighter, but it's an option. Or if you want to conserve your ferrocerium, you can use the bow drill divot in here so that you can make. So plenty of options. Okay, it's been 24 hours. Things have set up nicely. It's a really good strong connection in there. I can use this as a handle to scrape some fat wood, which is what I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is remove the lanyard like I did. Now I can use this nicely. I got a handle here. It's wet, it's windy, and kind of cold from hiking over 6 miles, so I need a fire pretty bad to warm up. This splinter, I'm going to put that to good use. I'm going to collect these scrapings and use them to start a fire, just like I did earlier in the video. Oh, those are going good. There we go, that's what we got. That's what we want. I just have to collect a bunch of these. And that's what I'll do. Oh yeah, look at that. I'll just nicely organize them down there. And that's what I'm looking for. And this is getting a little bit, this is kind of bunching up a little bit, so I'll use my blade and kind of cut it so it's smooth. One other thing you can do is you can cut nice slivers off. Those are also going to work out nice. So you can scrape and you can carve. You got options. So if it was really rough, I would kind of baton off larger chunks of this. But I want this to last. But I also need a fire today because it's cold enough where, yeah, my core temperature is dropping a little bit. I don't like that. All right, here's a hodgepodge of scraping, shavings, and let's improve our odds of things working out, because as always I only want to do this once. Gotta collect those. In a situation like this, it's best to collect them as you make them. There we go. Every time you cut one, collect it. That way you don't have to worry about finding it later. You think it's going to be easy to find later, but it's usually not. Alright. Let's get this going. Here we go. Nice, we're off. It's time to light a twig bundle. These twigs are damp, but I picked them in the deeper parts of the woods if I could, and they're starting to catch. This is good. I have more. Here's something interesting. When I was breaking these sticks, they kind of split a little bit, so that was actually good. So I'm going to use this split wood. I didn't use any tools for the split wood. All right, things are working now. It's definitely a damp day. You can see all the moisture burning off. Gonna use everything I got here. Now to enjoy some of the warmth because I need to warm up. Yeah, you can see the smoke. Definitely a damp day. That Fatwood Ferro-rod Firestarter worked. This is where it's at. This is what I needed. It's cold, damp, and rainy. I needed a fire. I used the Fatwood Ferro-rod Firestarter, and it performed for me. I love it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. Keep on drilling.